And we'll talk about all the other shit going on. Is there any other news that we should talk about?
Well, there's a lot of news.
What's the main topic?
The main topic.
Great question.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
is the hunt.
Do you like beaches?
So much.
Have you seen the beach in the hunt? Have you seen there's a big beach?
No one has seen it.
Nobody's going to see it because it was canceled. Universal sent out a press
segue.
release. Yeah, sent out a press release that due to some of the things that are happening in the news, namely the mass shootings, they pulled the trailer down, but then there's some politics involved.
Yeah.
No shit. And the hunt has now been pulled, and this caused a big reaction online all weekend.
This is dangerous stuff.
Yes.
This is dangerous stuff. You're starting to pull movies because you think they're propaganda. That's hard.
We've had
tough.
it been happening with TV episodes a lot recently,
Yeah.
where either they're completely pulled or they're delayed a week because of the material that they're dealing with based off of specifically mass shootings.
Yeah.
Or canceled. Right, with Heathers? Wasn't Heathers
right. There's certain circumstances that you got to be wary of, and it's one thing to cut a scene. It's one thing to do that, but it's like this was clearly because one party thought that they were being portrayed in a particular light, and they got it pulled, and then they blamed it on another thing that was happening in the world, which I think is very dangerous. And the same thing that, and I don't like to get super political on this show, but like even if you look, Walmart's pulling. This is my favorite story of the weekend. Walmart's pulling video games that are violent, but they're keeping the guns. But they keep the
guns. That is the most infuriating,
it makes no
stupid
sense.
shit.
It makes no sense.
I've read so many articles on why, and I still.
It just makes no sense. It's like wait, you can, but you can't have that in there, but you can have the things that actually shoot people.
We're trying to change the mindset, Christian.
It's crazy, but anyway, that's so it's just this is kind of goes in the same category because it's well, we believe we're being portrayed in this particular way, and if you take this type of stuff out, then none of this will happen ever again in the world. And it's like no. It's not. That's really not how. All you're doing is this is censorship at its finest.
I just don't understand what's going to happen when, because I love to who wrote the article for Collider for this?
And it's a great Dave Trumbore. Great article.
His headline is amazing. They cancel the hunt single-handedly solves America's problems. That's hilarious because what are they going to do with all of this propaganda when none of this is around, when no video games, no movies, and it happens again? Like what then? Like are we finally going to admit that it's a problem?
No, they'll find something else to blame. Yeah, that's how it is. And it's one thing though, and this is again going politics-wise. This is not a left or right thing. It really isn't, because right now it's one particular team, because it's what it is. It's teams. Because it's the same thing with the Epstein thing, and I brought it up earlier, right? Yeah. This is what's so crazy about this whole Epstein thing. It's the first time in a long time that both parties have been unified as far as an agreement that this motherfucker didn't kill himself. Yeah. That's now. It's now. I saw Facebook posts of like, no, it was the Clintons that did it. No, it was Trump that did it. We both know that somebody did it, right? And that's the whole point. There's no investigation, all that, and that's what unifies right now. It's teams, because if somebody posted this whole thing about Epstein and did this, one of my friends, and then he writing like it was the Clintons, and I go, look, the best part about this whole thing is that this scumbag is off the earth. That's great in one aspect of it. The problem is that there's so much cover-up, whether it's whoever it was, whether it was the Clintons, whether it was the Trumps, whether it was somebody else, whoever it was, somebody killed him, and we're never going to find out. We're never going to find out. There are pictures of Trump and Clinton like shaking hands. They were buddies.
Both Clinton and Trump. It's like they're pointing fingers right now, but it's like there's a lot of people that might be under this.
I just wish that us in general, people would just wake up and go, you know what? Like none of these motherfuckers care about us. None of them do. They're all doing all this crazy shit and fucking around doing crazy immoral stuff because of all this money, of all this stuff. They don't give a shit about us. No. Like Republicans, Democrats, they don't give a shit about us. And it's like, and we fight each other and we go after one another. Like, and it's like your guys and your guys. They're not our guys. They're not our teams. The fucking Democrats don't give a shit about me, and the Republicans don't give a shit about you. No one cares about. They say that they do because they want to get voted on again.
I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? It drives me nuts because that's why I don't ever tweet about this stuff and talk about it stuff, because I don't want to have a point of view for a team. I tweet for the Yankees because that's my team, right? That's the team that sorry, buddy.
Do you think that the Yankees care more about you than the Democrats?
No, they don't. But I at least know that I get
little bit more.
But I get satisfaction off of having them win championships.
I mean, a little bit because they're more getting your money directly than say anybody else.
That's
But
true.
they're doing something for you. They're giving you satisfaction.
They're giving you entertainment.
They ain't killing motherfuckers in prison with my tax money.
This thing has changed so much. All those reports, my lord.
Yeah, but that's the point though. This whole thing, it drove me nuts with the Epstein stuff because because here's what's going to happen. Just like everything else that happens in this country, and we all know this that it's going to happen, is that we will talk about this for a little bit. We will talk about it. We'll go, who did it? Who did it? And then it's like, oh, look at that new shiny toy, and we'll forget about it. It's the same thing every time there's a shooting. Everyone's like, gotta get rid of guns. Gotta do this. Gotta do that. And then move on to the next thing that sucks. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's a vicious circle.
I'm like conflicted right now because when I got home yesterday, I went in for a nap and I came out and there was like this little pamphlet someone put on my car for like a cult that was essentially like, you're being brainwashed by your technology. Like you're in a new form of slavery. It's the Holocaust all over again. And I was like, first of all, these are some very egregious claims that you're just going to throw out all willy-nilly like that. But at the same time,
slavery and the Holocaust. That's coming after your people and my people.
Same
Really
time.
checking all those boxes.
They're checking all the boxes. They just want to make sure whoever's reading it, they all pissed off. Right?
Yeah.
But
And scare the shit out of you to listen to what they're saying.
Oh my-
Fear. What?
But to that point, I mean, there is a little truth in the sense that you're right. We're being conditioned to constantly like new hot topic thing that comes in, and within 48 hours we're on to the next.
Move on to the next.
Like to that point, I don't want to necessarily keep talking about mass shootings, but why is El Paso and Dayton not a thing anymore already?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
that's and the problem is the politicians know it.
Yeah.
That they know it. It's like one of those things where it's like, and that's why whoever it is, again, Democrat or Republican, well, let's tweet about this or let's talk about this because then it'll shift the attention away, and it's a vicious. It's a game. It's a game.
Yeah.
Like, and people don't realize it because they get on the side of because they hate so much. It's all based on hate on both sides. Because of that particular, you don't like that guy. Because if you, let's say, people say, "Well, Trump, he goes off of the hate, and that's why his base is so good because of the hate, right?" But the left side hates Trump, so they're based off all the stuff they wanted. It's all hate, and nobody's going to come together because we all believe that it's a team. And it's never bipartisan anymore. I was watching this whole thing on what was it? CNN. When they were talking about, they were doing programs in the 80s, and how different news was. Like Peter Jennings and those guys were doing news back in the day before CNN came along, and then made it 24 hours, and then it really started getting, because you go back and you look at like Cronkite and all those guys back, and it was pretty bipartisan, man. Like it was just, there were points of view, but not the way it is today. And it's just like, you pick a team. What team are you on? And we're not on the same page anymore, but. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. I apologize, but it's just one of those.
Because we
came from this.
Because we politicize movies. That's why. Because I mean, The Purge has been out for however long, and that's kind of a similar scenario. Like, there's a literal storyline in the second movie about like a bunch of rich people like taking some of the poor people and like making a game out of it. So like, I don't understand why all of a sudden
they're even upset though. Talk about politicizing things. That's what's being referred to as what's going on in Hong Kong.
I heard about that. Yeah,
so, yeah. There's a lot of there's issues there as well.
Right.
Anyway, so
nothing we can say that doesn't have something like that.
Yeah,
right.
but it is a very dangerous thing but that's the one thing, again, the two things that I should say also, that I saw a lot of people were in agreement on this too. Both sides were in agreement that this movie shouldn't have been pulled.
No.
Even because
what do you think should have happened?
I mean, I didn't see the movie, so the question is, how many of the scenes could you have pulled or changed?
Or do you think a disclaimer at the top?
Maybe.
Or
yeah, but I think even you go back to the movie like The Interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Interview that came out, that movie got pulled and put on.
I got set to straight to streaming, right?
To streaming or something too, and it's like that type of thing. That was during Obama's reign, so I think. Reign, you know what I mean? Administration. But everybody, to me, every politician has a reign now. So it's like Trump's reign. It's
I didn't
Obama's
even
reign.
wince when you said it. I was like, yeah,
that's true.
But it is. It really is. It's all false bullshit.
You know, the thing that upsets me though more so about this than anything is you take the situation where like I'm out here, like I'm on the verge of doing stuff, like I'm not there yet. I'm imagining the person that like booked their first major role off this movie, and it's just gone. It's just instantly gone, and and all of your stuff is good. If any of the writers on that team doesn't matter anymore, you know, like
across the board, crew, actors, directors, producers, what have you.
The actress that plays Liberty Bell on Glow, which I'm watching again right now.
Yeah,
I was just going to ask you about that.
I just watched the pilot of the third season. I keep in pilot. The first episode.
Yeah, with
Is season 3 out?
Season 3 just came out 2 days ago.
Full drop, baby.
I just finished watching this Blacklist.
So, but anyway, the girl who plays Liberty Bell, she's in that movie. The one that
Betty Gilpin.
Yeah. And she's opposite with Hilary Swank, and that's a big role for her. She's starting to really pop, right? And then
it's Jason Blum.
Yeah.
Jason Blum produced
crazy,
this. This was Blumhouse. Damon Lindelof wrote this thing. I mean, come on. This is like A-list pedigree stuff for like a horror movie based on one of the oldest stories in the book, The Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
This is like just that story in today's society.
How do we decide which gun movies get pulled and which don't?
That's a great question.
Like John Wick.
John Wick, or you have the other horror movie that's about to come out, what, Ready or Not?
Ready or Not.
With the woman gets married to the family and then they all
this
hunt
is
each
just,
other? Like, what?
the family doing what this is.
Or us.
Yes. Well, look. This is all. It's all a matter of budget too, right? Because you look at Vox Lux. Have anybody seen it yet?
No, I still
I
haven't.
do
All
want
right.
to see
So
it.
Vox Lux, at this point, it's been out long enough. I'm going to tell you about what happens in the opening of the movie because I've been kind of skating around it. So if you don't get spoiled, don't listen. The beginning of the movie takes place in a school, and Natalie Portman's character is like 12 or 13 years old, and this kid comes in, real fucked up looking, shoots the teacher dead, and then shoots the whole fucking class. You know, and it's
And Natalie Portman hides and
she gets shot.
Oh.
She gets shot and she almost gets killed, and she recovers. And it's kind of the whole basis of the movie is that she's recovering from the scene. She sings this song at this at the vigil, and it that's where the notice comes from her, and that's how she kind of becomes a star. And it's haunting. It is hard to watch. It's terrible. You feel the impact, and it didn't feel like it's glorifying it by any stretch of the imagination. It feels like it did, but it's a scene that just mimics exactly what's going on in the world today. Didn't get pulled. I would think that if
Do you think because it wasn't a big enough movie?
maybe, but I think that to me, it's if that is more realistic and more not prompting, but it could be prompting, but that would be pulled more so than like this, which is like Riley said, Most Dangerous Game. And
But what is it about? And I hope this doesn't come off as insensitive, but there are so many issues going on in the world. Mass shootings are a huge one, of course. But are we weighing it out above other ones that we aren't pulling things like war or genocides or whatever? Like, are we not supposed to depict anything on film anymore that is currently destroying part of the world?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm just curious why this is the one that we...
Because it's political, Roxy. That's the main thing. The political, because it came out of the side.
So is genocide, so is war. We see them on screen all the time.
But it's political based on the administration at the time, right? Which right now it believes that they're being attacked. So there's enough. This is what I'm saying on both sides of it. It's like there's power to be thrown when whoever's in control is going to throw the power their particular way.
I think it's timing too, in the sense of when they see us, for example, wouldn't have ever been able to come out at the time that it was actually happening, or even a few years after. You needed a few decades for it to like go away before you could. The same way.
Literally, we wouldn't have been. It would have been a different story then.
Right. Of course. But I guess that's part of it too. Is if in the moment people like to freak out, especially because we have Twitter and everything else that like, you know, it gets more politicized and people just aren't ready, I guess, to handle it one way or the other, or they make us think that we're not, is the other issue.
It's a great point, though, too, because I remember one of my favorite shows was on FX a long time ago, 2005. Rami Malek was in it. It was called Over There. And it was about...
I've never heard of that show.
Exactly.
Over There?
Over There. It was about the Iraq, about the war going on. But the war was still going on. And so it didn't play well because people could turn on news and watch the show. The show was awesome, at least for the first like 4 or 5 episodes, and it started getting a little silly. But like the first 4 or 5 episodes were great, and that was the first time I ever seen Rami Malek. And anyway, so like, and that was exactly your point, is that people weren't ready for it yet.
Because I think the part of the issue is that if we're in the middle of it, then it's this weird thing of like, God, we're terrible, we're horrible, we're disgusting. Versus if you watch it and it's already happened, you're like, man, we were stupid back then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird.
But do you feel like we're ever going to not be in the middle of this?
That's the thing. I don't think so, but like it's funny though because I saw you brought up a Twitter comment like Hunger Games went over fine and Battle Royale back in the day and from Japan went over fine.
Well, that went over that went over in a different country.
Well, that's also true.
And here it played like people kind of heard about it. Like, hey, did you hear about that movie?
Yeah.
No, what's that? It's got subtitles. I'm not watching it.
No, which is a shame because it's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
It's great. It's great.
Keeping in mind, I'm not fighting for any position.
I know,
right
no,
now.
I know.
I'm curious
It's good
how this is all going to work, and how long we're going to be in this state of what we can and have to pull, what we can and cannot.
It's a crazy time for sure, but I do want to try to move on.